Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Psychic Hour on WLTKDB, Let's Talk Radio. And we are doing a reading show today. So later on in the show, you can pop down your numbers and your questions, and we'll have fun with that. Hello, Nessa. Hello, everybody. So today, what we'll be talking about, because we always have a topic of the day, and we open up the energy, the energy of space and even time. And I'm sure we talk about this from time to time, no pun intended, but it's important. It's so important. And please, along the way, pop down your own questions and your own spiritual musings, because that's what makes this show beautiful. That we can talk, because we're all feeling and sensing and perceiving things, and we're doing the best that we can with them. Sometimes things are easy to navigate. Sometimes things aren't easy to navigate, because the world of energy is so unique. It's as unique as every one of us, as unique as every star in the universe. Infinity of possibilities, and there is so much that goes on with new streams of energy. And honestly, like people go, "Oh, I've never experienced this before. This is weird, or this is unique," and that's what makes this work so beautiful, because you never get bored, and your curiosity is always satisfied in some department, because you can't see things coming. You can't plan for it. Um, Every reading is different. Every experience could give you something new. Every person is different, even if you are familiar with working with energy. Every situation is different. And so you do have this renewed enthusiasm for life and the zest for life. I really feel when you get in touch with your spirit and you get in touch with energy, because you humble yourself on multiple levels due to living life by faith and understanding you can't possibly control anything. Um, but you really have an appreciation for what comes your way. Um, and yeah, you don't see things as jaded as you could with just the perception of your own, or maybe just the perception you've been taught, or how you view things by the scope of what makes life life. It's so much more than that, and you get to experience it personally, rather than reading a book about what it means to be spiritual. Or you get to experience it personally and feel it, and learn about it and become it, rather than just someone teaching and talking to you about what it means to be a spiritual person, or what it means to be a religious person. I think spirituality pairs beautifully with religion, if that's something that is meaningful within your heart. And spirituality pairs well with just about anything. And that's why it's so, I think, beautiful, because it just ignites who we are, and it gives us an invitation to awareness and understanding. And it's limitless. It really is. Hello, Kevin. It's still living the dream. That's if you're living the dream, that's good, because we're all trying to dream the dream into reality. Um, and if you're living the dream actively, then you've won, and that's amazing. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about was giving space to ourselves. And I'm sure you've heard the concept before, like making space, or someone holding space for you. And it's very important to give things the proper boundaries, and the proper time, and the proper conditions to flourish. And that's including yourself. You can't rush certain things, and sometimes you need to be aware of certain things so you can even have a choice to rush it if you wanted it to be done yesterday, right? Sometimes we go, "Oh, I just realized I have to do this. I just realized I haven't done that." And that takes time and space. And we all need it. We all need it to think and feel things. When we're going at our normal pace, I think on average, unless we really do give ourselves space in our practice and our routine, on average, we're kind of just the amalgamation of what things are going on around us. Right? So we wake up, is someone, jackhammering because they're fixing something down the street? Um, if we live in a family unit, what's going on within the family unit? Are the kids or your spouse, are they rushed that day? What are they working on? Right? Or do you have a loved one like at the hospital? um, and you have to check on them. So there's different things where all of a sudden we're swirling with the circumstances around us, and that's what makes life beautiful and meaningful. Don't get me wrong, but then you go, okay, well then what's going on in the universe and the world of yourself? Because I feel that sometimes it's very difficult to concentrate on the universe outside of ourself and give that proper attention and to rise fully, um, entering the world with our best foot forward and entering with our best foot forward with navigating ourselves. I feel like that's a tall order to really do that efficiently. Um, it sounds sometimes more simple or more difficult than it can be. I'll give you that. Sometimes people go, "Oh, meditation," or to sit alone in the quiet or to journal. That's like that's something I really don't want to get into. So yeah, that can seem kind of difficult, like a habit to reestablish your whole entire life. And it doesn't have to be that. It could be going for a walk, but you have to definitely employ some mindful time where you're just focused on yourself. And so again, yeah, it could be sports because as long as you're not in a high pressured situation and you're doing something and you're moving your body and you're able to think through your thoughts, that can give you some of that. Um, Again, as long as you're not too caught up in communicating with other people, it has to be you. It has to be your alone time. Walks are great, but if you're on a walk with a buddy, a friend, you're not going to get the same concentration or awareness on self. You just possibly can't. Someone else is with you. Sometimes when you're walking in the quiet with somebody, that's a different story because you both are collectively holding space to give each other a break or a sense of peace. Or meditating with friends or journaling with friends. I love that if that can be cultivated and nourished and supported. Um, Hey, Debbie. Hey, thank you for dropping by and giving some love. I love it. Debbie was on the show just earlier this week, and we had fun with readings, and she's always a blast. So check her out, Debbie Romero. She's an awesome medium. Um, but yeah, how we hold space for ourselves and sometimes how we help hold space for friends, if we can have an environment with shared values and we're helping to uplift one another. But again, as we help to uplift one another, we don't do things for each other in a way where we are distracting. We're basically just allowing the amplified focus of, okay, you work on you and I work on you. And that's how you hold space for each other to focus. If you're, not going to be, let's say, nurturing a person directly, or if they're not nurturing you directly, and really the whole point of this is you're supposed to be nurturing yourself for this focus that we're talking about. It's wonderful when friends nurture us. It's wonderful when friends give us attention, or our spouse or the person we're in the relationship with, or our family members. That's amazing. But when it comes to the concept of just giving space for ourselves, we have to be in charge of that. we can be in the room with somebody that helps does that with us as well. They take charge for themselves. They put focus on themselves. And when that happens, I find I've taught meditation classes over the years, and people, when whether they have an open-ended space, they find things about themselves. Now, it's a matter of helping someone to navigate how to focus and relax. There's that goes into play. But when they are given an open-ended space, they find things about themselves. And also with prompts, like, hey, we're gonna look at, what it means when you put your attention on the concept of scanning your body, right? Or scanning your emotions. And I'm being very general. But as soon as you put focus on an area, more information comes up. More information comes up. And a lot of times in the classes, people walk away and they're like, wow, I just learned a ton about myself in just 40 minutes. And really all they were sitting down, allowing things to come to them that either they knew but they needed to crystallize, or that had been floating around that they never had time to properly even grasp or even begin to think of, even though they knew it on some level, but they hadn't even caught it enough to even pay attention to the fact that they did know that that was an option, or that feeling was inside of them. Okay. So I feel like we're all geniuses. I truly feel like each and every one of us is a genius, and we all have special capabilities, and we all have special ways to connect to knowledge. And then some of it is just like the human capacity for facilitating genius. I think, like, under proper conditions, a lot of us can really excel. And that's what all these studies are anyway, right? All the scientific studies of, is this food good for you? Like, the hyperbaric chamber, does it increase like telomere function? What does this study do for, human health? What does this study do for human potential under these conditions? That's all that people are trying to find on a certain level. What's the best way to do it, and does it universally apply to people a certain way, or a group of people a certain way, right? Um, and it's just, I really do think like meditation is one of those things where it does enhance our capabilities. And we're just a ball of energy. Like, we have so much energy conduction in our brains and in our bodies. Like, we are bioluminescent electromagnetic beings. Like, we are walking suns, literally. It's amazing, all the charge we have in our body and what we're able to do. And when we kind of hyper focus, or we settle and we call back our energy and reconfigure and realign, amazing things are possible. Fantastic things happen. And when we quiet our mind enough, where we're able to just go, oh, that's what's floating around, or oh, that's there, that's a part of me, we're able to see like certain programmings that we have, or certain options that we have, where we have more choices, and choice is powerful. And I really do feel that meditation does unveil more choices for ourselves. We go, oh, huh. And those choices are sometimes inspired by environments and people, but ultimately what comes forth, that's from you, and it's tailor made for you because your consciousness is rising and saying, "Hey, try this. Hey, remember that? Oh yeah, this. You need this." And it is very, very powerful. So, time and space, how we are able to give that to ourselves, is infinitely powerful, I believe. When we give another person time and space, we know very well what it does for another person. And I feel that most times it's more powerful when we give it to ourselves. Sometimes when we're in dire need, oh gosh, another person rising up, um, that's powerful stuff. That's beautiful stuff. But when we are with ourselves, or if someone is, tuned into ourselves so beautifully and so purely, it does cultivate touching the spirit. And when we are in a place of sitting in the power, they call it, that's a form of meditation. Um, with developing your spirit, with developing sometimes mediumship, sometimes, or just pure meditation, various styles, we do touch our spirit, and our spirit speaks to us, our higher self speaks to us, and it gives us what we need. It nourishes us. It's a very healing experience. And sometimes people are able to vibrate at our frequency in a way where they can offer us a glimpse of the spirit and ignite and activate our spirit on a higher level. That is very, very, very special. Um, we can do that for ourselves. And honestly, we can do that for ourselves every day if we really want to. We haven't really been trained. We haven't really been, you know, guided or modeled as young beings, as humans, to go, oh yeah, like you can supercharge your battery and you can balance yourself and you can awaken this typhoon of energy inside you every day, multiple times a day if you want to. We're all in a state of practice to kind of like find ways to recharge our energy and learn, and this is a really, really powerful one when we get to sink into our meditation, when we get to sink into feeling our energy and start to understand what that means to us and what we can do to strengthen it, the answers come to us. That's what I truly believe. Um, yeah, with that said, we are going to be going into readings in just a moment. I'm glad you're treating yourself, Kevin. I'm reading comments, sitting back and enjoying the talk. Thank you. Um, Hello, Malik. Hello, everybody. Um, yeah, everybody, we're going to be going into readings in just a moment, but if you can think about the last time that you've given yourself some space, or the last time you gave yourself increased space where you go, whoa, I needed this amount of time, I needed these conditions. Think about that. It could have been yesterday, that you gave yourself space. And so I applaud you for that. And then also think about when you gave yourself extra and you needed it and what that did for you. Or when you had a game changer with how you made sure that you gave yourself something so a part of you could flourish and a part of you locked into place because you said, okay, there's a problem here, or there's wonderfulness here, but I need to go to the next level. How can I give myself that instead of looking outside of yourself for, let's say, a business partner, or, to strike rich or get attention or whatever you needed to further opening up yourself, you went within and you cultivated it that way. Think about that and return to that knowing of how you can at any time activate that. Okay. So, with that said, we are going to start readings. So, everybody, please pop down your numbers, pop down your questions. It's something to think about, yes, but I would always say with things like this, it has to be felt and experienced, because when we think too hard, we go, well, in my own experience, I'm not quite sure. How do I think about that? Right? And the brain will try to dissect it. And since you've never had that experience, it can actually like stop you from going and getting it, because the brain has no recollection or example of how that experience is important or mind blowing or healing. It doesn't have that information stored within the body. So if you go, this could be important, I should try that, the brain will give you no urgency to do it unless you've experienced it and go, whoa, that was cool. Okay, I should do that. I should do that again, maybe more so. All right. So definitely, if you're drawn to something, try not to overthink it. Try to do it or feel it, and just experience it. That's my advice within that. Yes, because the brain goes, okay, this is what logically I have when it comes to this. And so it can only go so far. It honestly can. We need to use our brains and our logic for a lot of things, don't get me wrong. But in these departments, with when we're trying to get out of our comfort zone and we do feel like something is ultimately a good decision, if we're drawn to it, our brain, we got to be careful how we use our brain because our brain will keep us in our comfort zone. At times for a lot of good reasons, but when we know that the reasons are not applicable in certain senses, then that's when we gotta not use our brain. Okay. All right. Get a piece of paper. Okay. All right. So pop down your questions. All right, I'm gonna pick some cards and feel. Please put down your birthdays too, because we go into like numerology, and that is a quick way to connect as well. All right. So Onessa, I know you were in here early. Oh, thank you. 7, 10, 1990. Okay, so you're an attitude 8, you are personal day 1, and you are a life path 9. Yep, you're life path 9. Okay. Oh, I put down 7. You're a 6. You're 610. So your personal day 1 still, you're an attitude 7, and then you are a life path. It would just be you at a life path 8 then. Yep, 7. Yep, that's right. Okay. So you're 7, 1, and then 8. Okay, so Onessa, um, so that makes perfect sense. You mentioned that you struggled with overthinking and worrying. Well, it's very indicative in your numbers, how these themes would come to you because you're an attitude 7. And so your attitude number is the way that you think and perceive things. And you have the most cerebral placement of all the numbers. Like you have a 7 for your attitude. So your attitude being 7, that means you're a very naturally logical and analytical person. You think things through, you're very perceptive, you're very observant, and you are not one to be impulsive with the way that you go through things. So, what's great is, so 7 is such a mental number, so it amplifies things, but you're very smart and you can get through things quickly, especially if you have a talent for them. Like you're super quick, super sharp, and you can complete things way quicker than the average person in those departments. Um, like you could have others with talent too, but you're just like you're just zipping on by. Um, in your area, in your area. So, what I wanted to say too as well is 7 is the number of like wisdom and truth, and so it's great because well, for sevens, people will relax their minds when they're a 7, when faith enters the equation. When they have spiritual experiences that affirms there's more than my own perspective. There's much more out there than my own deduction can get me. That's when a lot of things open up. So you have to cultivate a practice of faith and trust. And and really you have to put yourself in environments with your mind and your heart to go, this is a good environment for me. This is a safe environment for me. These are good and safe people. And so once you feel that you've cultivated good decisions around that, then based on what you're doing, whether it's job, friendships, relationships, career, you know, you can go, okay, up until this point, I feel congruent in my decisions. And so the rest of the way, I'm going to have faith that something bigger than myself brought me to this moment to facilitate some of the rest. With some of the stuff that I can't possibly figure out, or that makes my job harder if I overthink and try to figure it all out. So there has to be you have to come to a point in your life where you put trust within yourself or find trust within something higher than yourself to make a lot of peace with your mind. That's the way how you work with it with this one. You're a life path 8 too as well, and when someone's a life path 8, they naturally will be overthinkers too because they have to account and catch for so many details because they want things done to be the right way. They want things done, well. They're overachievers. You would be a natural overachiever, and, when you are a life path 8, I always say this, like, you have to go into a role of management, leadership, or you have to have your own business because it's a very anti-authority placement, and it's a placement that likes responsibility. They want, recognition for their achievements and hard work, and they want to take on that responsibility so they get that. They want to climb the career ladder. They want to be responsible for others, and ultimately they want to be because they catch things and see things in such a perceptive manner that they're like, well, what, I want things done efficiently, so why wouldn't I want to oversee people to make sure they're done even more efficiently? Why wouldn't I want to make sure things are going right? And if I'm in charge, more things can go right. So there that's very important. It's either you need to do your own thing or you need to be in an elevated role within your job where you have freedom and flexibility to call the shots increasingly. Um, let's see. Cool. I'm glad you're opening up. I'm just reading your comments. You've been stuck in your head. I know that it's okay that people don't think. Yeah. So you're going to be a lot more detailed, and sometimes people go, "Oh, why are you taking all that time to process or make the decision?" And it's just because you're looking at things very differently than other people are with the way that you're going about things. And you'll always be like that. And you'll learn how to work with your energy the most efficiently for your own advantage, um, not in a way where, exactly like you said, other people would be like, oh, well, you could do it this way and said, no, keep doing it your way. Just find a way to do it more efficiently for you. The more that you grow, that's it. Not based on other people's rules. Absolutely. Um, I would encourage you. So 7 and 8, they out of the all the numbers, they deal with most of the concepts of truth, like actively having a thirst and wanting to find truth on all the numbers do, but like with the 7, it's like it's very analytical and logical. I need alone time to consider what's real, right? So your mind gets really involved. And then with the 8, it's very much like I want to create good things. In order to create and do things right, I have to figure out what the proper channels are and what the proper foundation is. So you have very mulling numbers. You have very numbers that don't necessarily act quickly because they want to do things the best or they want to do things right. So my advice to you is you know a lot about yourself because you spent a lot of time, in your head and practicing and figuring things out. So you already know what you like, so find a job or find something that you're working on momentarily that you absolutely love and like and you can put a lot of devotion into. And if it makes sense for money, great, right? Um and find a job where you can go, okay, if I work like this, I can get from A to B and then B to C. And make sure that what you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears into is something that is truly good for your soul because your numbers are numbers of truth. So you have to be working just towards something that you go, oh, I wanted to learn about this. I wanted to develop this. I wanted to be around these people. I wanted to be around this environment. And don't overthink it once you know it. Just go, okay, I'm going to apply for this, or I'm going to try for this, or I'm going to work for this because this is where I want to be. And you go and get it. And any doubts or overthinking that you had that is keeping you from showing up and trying out and seeing what happens with you doing that, that's what's shooting you in the foot. Okay, so get out there and um, so you've overcompensated for figuring out a lot of things of what isn't risky. So it's time to have the scales balanced and be a little bit risky. Okay, like life is about balance, and you've put a lot of stock into to overthinking and figuring things out. You know exactly what you want, and if you consider it risky, time to be a little bit risky. Okay, action trumps potential every day of the week. Action trumps potential every day of the week. You could have somebody who's half your potential and they're getting the life that you want because they acted. You could have twice their potential and you are second guessing yourself and you are not showing up to where people need you. Okay? Want you to sit with that. So get out of your comfort zone. Don't think it. Do it. You've thought enough. For a lot of people who sometimes don't think things through, then I'll talk to them about thinking it out and playing it safe. But that is not your problem. Okay. All right. So all right. Laura. Yeah, sure. Laura, put down your numbers. I love numerology. Thank you. I appreciate it. Um, all right. Let's see here. So, Lunjile, I hope I'm saying that right. Lunjile, you're 12/8, 1983. And yes, please, if you're from a different country, it's important just to make sure that your month is first, then your day is second. And a good way to do that is just writing out your date. So like writing out the word April or writing out the word May, because in the United States we flip it. And in the UK or other countries, they're their day first, then their month. And it just helps to make sure that I'm giving you an accurate reading. Okay. So just write things out and correct me if it's wrong. Okay. So I have so for instance, Lunjile, I have 12/8/1983. So that would be December 8th. Let me know if that is right. Let me know if you're December 8th or if you're August 12th. Do you understand how it's important to, right, distinguish? Okay. Let me If you're still here, let me know. Okay? Um so I'm gonna do m- Manoj. Okay. And then all right. Manoj, you're giving me February 18th. And then you're giving me your son's birthday to October 15th. Okay. So you're a 9, 2, and then your son is a 6, 7. Okay. Yep, that's right. And then your cycle numbers. Um, your cycle numbers. Right. Yes. So your cycle is going to be a 9, and then your sun is going to be 5. Okay. So I'll do it. So you had a question. So you're asking about current feelings for your son. What opinion do they hold? Okay. Well, right off the bat, your attitude numbers are different. Okay. So the way that you communicate and go about things are different. So you're an attitude 2 and he's an attitude 7. So an attitude 2 is a very emotional number. It makes for naturally an emotional person. They're very sensitive to other people's feelings, and so you will just know things about your son sometimes without him telling you. And he might be like, I don't really want to talk, or how did you know that? Or he'll shy away from you. Okay. And it's amplified because he's a 7. And so a 7 is very actually an attitude 7 is very mysterious, and it wants to be. It doesn't try to be, it just wants to be. And so it doesn't prefer to share about their day unless uh, there's a very deep emotional connection with a person. And with parents, it's very different when you're younger. You know, with parents, teenagers or young adults, they don't always want to share what's on their mind. They're learning how to deal with their mind, so they'll share with their friends sometimes, but not so much with their parents. The 7 energy makes them very guarded, okay? Throughout your son's life, he will actually be more guarded than your average person because the son goes, "I will observe, I don't want to talk. I will listen to you, I will listen to my friends. I don't necessarily need to talk about what's going on with me." And so they will be very, um tactful. They'll be very careful with how they divulge, with how they share information about themselves. So it can be like pulling teeth sometimes with the 7, especially if they're going through things or if they're young and they're sorting out who they are. So be very, very patient and let the 7 and let your son who has 7 energy come to you. So I would say if you push on him, he will withdraw even more. That's very common for people who have attitude 7s. You have to let them come to you a little bit more. I know that's difficult because you are, the parent. So you have to figure out how that works for you. But less is more in this situation. Okay. Um, you're in a cycle of 9. So that means there's things that are coming to an end with what you're used to. The 9 is always about endings. And the 9 deals with family. So the 9 deals with forgiveness within family. The 9 deals with change in family. So there could be changes within how your son is growing, and he could be moving forward from the family soon and making his own decisions. The 9 is all about there's things around you within family that will be changing, so you have to change. And it's a quick and busy year because there's a lot of stuff happening, and it forces you to go, who do I want to be? Who do I want to be amongst all this change? And you're going to look at things differently and you're going to feel things differently this year. And it is going to feel like you are able to change rather than just think about it. Okay. Within your son, he has a 5. So he's in a cycle of 5. And so change is very amplified for him too, because that's the 5 is about freedom, it's about variety, it's about choice, it's about movement. So it does highlight that your son, I don't know how old he is because he didn't pop down the birth date, but with your son, it does showcase is that he will be thinking about moving. It will make him want to have his own independence. Whether he's changing school or whether he's moving out, there is going to be a change that enacts his independence, and changes the way that he normally goes about things. And you could be feeling that amplified as a parent. So I really would just allow space, like, proper discipline and guidance, but space as your son is changing. Okay. Let's see. Hope that makes sense. That is what is coming up the most. You communicate very differently, you and your son, so just continue to try to see things from his perspective as you are guiding him, and to help facilitate certain conversations where you figure out what makes him comfortable, because I think a lot of the questioning and a lot of you need to talk, you need to share, it's making him uncomfortable. So to find a way where you can ask him, well, what does make you comfortable to talk and how would you like that? You're the parent, you get to call the shots. But oh, you did put down the birth date, did you? Did put down the birth date. Okay. So sun is, hold on a second. So sun is 20. Sun is 20. Okay, yeah. So this is so your son is 20. Okay. got it. Well, that's what it felt like. I was like, he's a teenager, young adult, that window. Okay. So, with him being 20, yeah, it's if he hasn't moved out yet, this is a time where it will be kicking up things for him to really consider it, or he is doing it. Um, and just to facilitate his independence. Ooh, I sneezed. To facilitate his independence. And I do think it's important for him to like step out and to get uncomfortable. And it's important to let your kids become uncomfortable and to just gently say, "Hey, I'm here for you if you need me." And to let him come more than you're trying to come to him. Okay. And that's what I'm going to say. That is what I'm going to say. Okay. Um All right, so I'm gonna do Laura, and she's 430 1979. Okay, so you're an attitude. We have a lot of every reading I've done today is an attitude seven, has an attitude seven in it. Laura, you're an attitude seven. So some of the things that I've said can apply for how you felt at times, definitely. Um, you're a personal date of 3, and then you are the life path 6, I believe. Let me just double check. Yep, that's right. And then you are in a cycle of 5 too as well. So, okay. So this is a year that has gone by very quickly. It's been a busy year. A 5 year always makes for things to be just we're on to the next, we're on to the next, and we're on to the next. Your question is, I'm interested in love, career, house, not necessarily family, but actually my house, like renovations and moving, right? So we talked about before that, you know, the lady's son, he was in a cycle of 5, and we talked about how moving would come up with that too. So when you're in a cycle of 4 and 5, you're going to be dealing with house things. Okay. You're in a 5. So I'm fixating on the 5 as I talk to you. But house, home, renovations, all that stuff comes up the previous year and into the next year. So if you can, understand that this isn't something that just happened this year. Okay. This has been, in the works, and has you've been planning and working on things since last year, if you can understand that too. Um, and you're talking about so you have very good numbers to move this year. Let me just look at something. Um, it is August right now. Okay. Okay. Yep. So it's great because you are on time for those renovations and those projects right now. So you're in a cycle of 5, but a personal month of 4. And so, yes, fixing things, making sure things are up to date, making sure things are right in the house. You're right on time with last month, because that would have been started last month, and it's going to be bleeding over into this month. Absolutely. It's a really good time to move or continue to deal with um, making sure things are in full motion regarding the house. Things will continue to go well. Things will be busy. You might have some, like hiccups, but ultimately they'll smooth out because 5 is the number of chaos. But in this department, it's so naturally at home with moving and changing, and you just had, the 4 around to support, um, building things or repairing things. So your numbers are in good placements, so they won't kind of combust on you right now. Everything will be going forward pretty good. Even if there are hiccups, they will smooth out, like I said, pretty well for the most part. They won't linger. It won't be like you know, this is going into next month. It might be like a day or or at the most like week hiccups, and they'll just smooth out. And that's sometimes how these things go when you're dealing with houses. So I'm feeling like everything is going how it needs to go. Um Not that this is like a huge concern right now, but there's gonna be like maybe it is. You just let me know, but I know it's definitely coming up, and I feel like there's so many projects that you can't, like, focus on this as much right now, so you let me know about this. But, working with the garden, I feel like working with outside and landscapes in the garden, I feel like that will be coming in, um, up, and there will be a lot of, like, satisfaction with how that turns out. Okay. So making sure that's in place because I feel like that's really important. Um, Landscaping and making the outside feel good because I feel like in the old place or the place that you currently have, it's something that you already like to do, but it feels very outdated and you're frustrated because you're like, well, I'm moving anyway, so I'm not going to redo all this now, and you get to redo all of it and make it magical at the new place if you can understand that too, Laura. I hope that makes sense. Um, Ultimately, you have what you need to have. Um, I feel like whether you're closing a deal this month, um, I do feel like it's gonna bleed over into we're going to October. The move is gonna bleed over into, October. I do feel like that's a thing, but I do think things get settled this month with what needs to get settled, okay? So, everything's on time, everything looks good. I do feel like things are gonna be settled definitely by November, and when I say the word settled, I mean, like, physically, things are more settled, like, within the home. Okay? Like, more settled within the home, and there's peace, and things are to be enjoyed. But the actual physical move is gonna bleed over into October, so you might close this towards the end of October or get to the decision towards the end of October, but it's coming. Okay? Moving is actually very good for you right now, so it's just a matter of, how much you wanna lean into that, okay? But you have great numbers for moving. Okay. And if you don't want to move, what you need to do at the end of the day, because you say you're thinking about moving, what you need to do is continue renovating and making the house feel like it's new. Okay. So you have to refresh the house and be like, this is a new house. Even though I'm not physically moving, I'm going to restore and completely change this to make it fit the new me and my needs. And I'm going to be happy here, but it's going to be completely different new vibe. Or you move. And again, you have great numbers to enact that move. And there you go. All right. So hello, everybody coming on in. Put down your numbers, put down your questions. Okay. All right. You understand the outdoor and landscaping. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. The readings are for people who are asking, readings are free. This is a service of love, and we share, numerology, whether it's card readings, card pulls, or psychic readings, however they come up. Okay. This is just a way to give back and share gifts for people who are asking. All right. So pop down your numbers. I'm going to pull a card for you, Mary Ann, Vancouver. Right. Where are my cards? Oh, they're right here. All right. I'll pull a card for you, Jenny. I'll pull more than one. All right. All right. So, for Marianne, so I got the needing a friend card, communications, and unraveling the mystery. So, these are my cards that I've made myself. So they're kind of fun. They work very well for me. So, with a needing a friend card, it's always an invitation to saying like, "Hey, it's important to facilitate connections where you feel like you're yourself again." Because sometimes we feel ourself when we are in the presence of other people who remind our us about who we can be, and the parts we've forgotten. Sometimes it's like we do need that laughter and that cheer of other people to restore our fire and restore our hearts. And it's also the classic indication too of like, hey, like our support system needs to grow. And it invites us to have new friends or invites us to reach out to the people that we know and to cultivate deeper friendships. So needing a friend is really important because it highlights emotionally we are changing and we're going through things, and we shouldn't just do that with ourselves. We shouldn't go through all those changes and the ups and downs by ourselves. So it's very, very important. And sometimes it is a little bit unconventional to, you know, ask for that help or to put ourselves out there in that way. But life is so much about experiencing who we are around others. And so there's a lot of gifts in that. So the spirit world saying, hey, this might be, unconventional for you to think about, but it's time to make some new friends or strengthen the ones that you already have because it's going to help heal on the next level. Um, then I got the communication card, and this is the acknowledgement of how you have been opening up the way that you connect with your spirituality with like I'm seeing like a book. So it's like journaling or like you've been reading. I feel like you've been reading about stuff though. I feel like it's more in that department, but you've been more considerate and you've allowed yourself more time, and even if it's just the thought of like, hey, I'd like to do more of this and you haven't been doing it, I'm aware that your thoughts have been in those places where you're like, I want to incorporate like spirituality and working with spirit in my life. And I want to have that active and open communication. So it's about the acknowledgement of you've opened the door to be a more conscious person and you're actually making steps to have honestly a different life for yourself with the way that you go about things. So you're like, yeah, time for something different. Unraveling the mystery. So this is all like mixed up in kind of what I'm saying. It's like sometimes we know things are good for us, but since we're changing, we go, well, I don't know exactly how to do them perfectly. And really that's the whole part of it. Like spirituality, there's no right way. It's basically we just kind of go out and we do it. We go. So from the cards that I'm seeing with the communications and needing a friend, it's kind of just like, okay, I'm gonna go out and meet people, or I'm gonna go out and, or I'm gonna reach out to my friend and say like, hey, do you want to have lunch? Or I haven't talked to you in a long time, and you just do it and you see what happens. And if someone's able to do it, great, and if someone's not able to do it, okay. But you've put that energy out there, and I promise you, as long as you keep putting that energy out there, you're gonna get exactly what you need, and you're gonna find the people that you need because you're gonna be like, I'm putting this out here, and the universe is like, great, you put it out there, we'll send it to you. Um, and so you mentioned that your mom has passed away, and spiritually, you've been opening up and looking at things and considering things. And I do feel like you've had experiences where you do feel like the other side is listening, that mom is listening, that they're like taking me to like there's an ear on the card, so they're really taking me to like you've had some audio experiences. If you can understand, they've been sometimes like muffled. It's still like you're trying to figure it out. Like you've heard something, like you feel something, and you've heard things, and things have caught your attention, but you're still like making sense of it all. If you can understand that too. And again, it all comes back to the unraveling the mystery card, and it's basically saying, I'm figuring out things on a new level, and I'm opening different doors, and I'm looking at things differently. And on the card, it's all about things are not what they seem. So just enjoy it and go forward and keep asking, mom and the signs and spirit to be around you, and they will show themselves, and not in a way that you think they are going to show themselves. And you're going to see in a way that you don't expect. So be open for it. Okay. That is what I'm giving to you. Okay. So let's see. I said was Jenny. Okay. And Sarah asked a question, what do you mean numbers like life path number? So with numerology, so I do numerology, that's why I'm asking for people's, numbers. With cards, I'm not doing numerology, obviously, and then other forms of reading, there's just different ways to tap in. But with numerology, you take the person's birthday and you break it down into one number. So you're doing addition and then you're reducing it. And that number is an archetype and a vibration that lets you know about how a person is within their life. And you can read from that energy. And when you do it enough, you can actually feel things as well. So that's what's going on, Sarah. And everyone has a different life path number, um, and different numbers around their life path number to help focus in on the accuracy of who they are with the numbers. Okay. So, oh, Jenny, you're giving me a birth date and some cards. Thank you everybody for coming in. Courtney, Christopher, thank you. I'm glad that makes sense, Marion. Thank you. Um, Lalima, thank you. Okay. So Jenny, you give me 22078. So your attitude is 4. So that lets me know you're a more consistent, organized person. You are a personal day 2, and you are let's see here. 4 plus your life path 2 as well. Okay. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so Jenny, you're a life path 2. So it lets me know that like you're somebody that has a more sensitive body than the average person. So anytime I see life path 2, I give a shout out and I go, hey, anyone who's life path 2, be very careful with your diet and your sleep, because 2 it's an emotional and physical number, and it's so connected to other people. Even when you're not meaning to be connected to other people, you're just kind of like, the vibe in the room, right? You know the vibe when people aren't even in the room. You connect to things, and you don't just you're not just in your own experience. You're always pulled into other things. So you're using up a lot of energy, and because of that, um and your body runs differently, you have to just really make sure that you're having that good sleep, and keep refining the diet and keep refining the exercise that makes you feel like you're truly in your body, that you're truly grounded, because the two, think of it like a seesaw. Okay, you will always feel like want until you get a balance point, and every year you will have a different balance point. So with twos, you will need to refine much more than the average person, but just know that you can sense more than the average person too, as well. As long as you fulfill the law of making sure your balance is stronger, your senses will be stronger. So it rewards you within that. And I'm going to pick a card for you. Apparently. Okay, so I got the times are changing in the health card. Okay. So again, we talked about health, just making sure that things are tighter. And that if you like, I really feel like, so there's been like, I don't know, a type of routine. Maybe it's like a shake. I wish I could know clearly. I'm honest when I see things clearly, and I'm honest when I don't see things clearly. So there's some type of routine that you have. I don't know, but I feel like it started about 2 years ago, and it's like, I need refinement for how that routine applies to your life right now. What worked 2 years ago might work on a certain level, but there's better things now that would work for you now to make you feel like, "Okay, I'm on my health journey." So just heads up with that. Um, Whether it's a subscription, whether it's a service or a product, I need things updated for you. Okay? That's what I'm getting. Um, and then times are changing. It's basically like, yeah, that goes with the health thing, honestly, what I'm saying. But you're on a different trajectory. And so it's about not only with your body, but with your mind now, saying, what do you want? What do you want? It's time to re envision. You kind of got some of the things that you've already wanted. And now you do continue to go forward and understand things that you're working towards. But I feel like you haven't really sat down and go, okay, based on everything that's happened to me, how do I configure the new compass? So it's like the body awareness and it's the mind awareness and the emotional awareness. I want you to really get down deep and to have other people on that spiritual journey to help you hone in on that focus deeper, because it's time to go deeper and it's time to get sharper so you can make bigger, more efficient moves. Okay. So with that spiritual journey, get guidance and have the discipline to make sure it happens rather than saying, I'm on it, I'm going about it. No, you're ready to be on it. It's time to get sharp and disciplined. Okay. I don't always crack the whip on people, but Spirit wants me to crack the whip a little bit on that, because you have a lot of things in place to actually act rather than experience. Okay. Thank you. All right. I'm just gonna pull a quick card for Lalima really quick, and then okay, so I got the Master of Your Own Fate card. And so this is about bringing back the love to yourself, and this is about bringing back the power to yourself and the awareness of, I can move, I can change, and I can amplify anything that I put my time and attention into. If I feel like I can't do it, then that is amplified where, yeah, I can't do it. If I feel like I can rock the boat and make things different, then yeah, I can rock the boat and make things different. And it's about mastering what you can. And as you continue to do that, more will open up where you can go, I can change that actually too, and I can change that and I can work on that. And master your own fate is about opening up ways of energy. And there's a lot of um whether you believe in angels or the God and universe, there's a lot of angelic realm energy. Like for instance, Uriel, he's one of the archangels. He opens up ways and he shifts and makes things possible. That's a fantastic angel to call into your life too as well. And Michael protects, and Gabriel, he brings messages of clarity to other people and yourself to open the way to as well. So think about what powers within yourself and what helpers you have around you to enact you stepping into what tools you can use and start seeing what happens. So that's what I'm getting. Love and light to everybody. Please, I will see you next week. We have Shelly Sanders on the show, I believe. Yes, I believe yes, Shelly's on the show. I just want to look at it. Yeah, Shelly's on the show. Okay, cool. Shelly Sanders is on the show. We will be doing double readings. She is a psychic and a medium, so we'll be taking a lot of lovely questions and having fun. I love doubling up. So I will see you on Wednesday, the 6th. And also, we have the numerology hour where we talk about numerology and we teach people about numerology, as well as we do readings too. So, a lot of opportunities. And I will see you next Friday for the open ended reading show. So, a lot of love from my heart. I will see you on Wednesday and Friday for the psychic hour and the numerology hour. See you then, everybody. Go with love, luck, light, and don't forget to live.
The truth is here and now on WLTKDB Talk Radio at WLTKDB.com.